The co-op file, how do you pronounce who's the petition? You the petitioner?
Kareem Koja,
Koji?
Koja.
Okay, thank you. This is a request for a rezoning from R1 to B1 to allow a self-storage facility and a conditional use to allow a self-storage facility. It's a Wayne Township property on about 4¼ acres serviced by well and septic. Matter was published in the Daily Herald on May 22. We have UDOT needs a traffic study. The health department needs a bio barrier or similar septic system. May be necessary due to limited space. The stormwater department requires some additional information, and they presented a letter to the petitioner. Village of Bartlett objects. And no other comments have been received. I have a two-part survey because there are apparently two parcels, so I'll take them as survey petitioner group exhibit number 1. And then I have a site plan that doesn't indicate that it's been done by an engineer or whatever. It's just a sketch. I'll take that as, for now, I'll take that as petition as exhibit number 2. Oh, you got your, what's working here is Anderson present by Zoom call or cell phone?
No.
No?
No.
No one is?
Nope.
No board member? Okay, Mr. Koja, are you presenting the petition?
Yes, sir.
Or is it your lawyer or?
That's my architect, my lawyer, they're all on their way. They're running a little late, but I can start, that's not a problem.
So we'll both present.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you have to be sworn in.
Would you raise your right hands, please? If you do solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give this class now here in the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Who is your lawyer?
Frank Kozlowski, he should be here soon. I just talked to him a few minutes ago, he was just in the traffic, he said. But he said, Kareem, you go ahead, you and Paul are there. That's my architect, Paul, so we both are going to do the presentation. So we can really start if you guys want to.
It's a pretty complicated case with a lot of legal standards, but if your lawyer said you should proceed, then if I were you, I'd proceed.
Okay, I mean, you want me to, Jessica? You want
What are you doing?
the presentation, because I know she told us to give her handouts. So you guys can
Presenting exhibits?
yeah, it's basically like the pictures and so this is from Paul, my architect. But these are the copies for like what I'm doing the presentation for.
I don't know the significance of any of this.
Well, it's just what I'm gonna say, so by the pictures, every slide, instead of doing it on a computer, they told me to do a handout. They told me to give a handout, so it's much easier. And that's the only.
Let's take these as, I want to have hearing exhibits. I don't know what this, what the value of this is. Apartment residents point to a village population sign in 1950. I'm not going to take that as an exhibit. This is, what is this, an aerial?
Well, these are aerial views. If you let me do my presentation, that will give you an idea why I gave all that.
These are not exhibits until you refer to them and offer them in the record. And,
Right.
And they've got to be relevant to something, so.
The only reason, the only reason I brought those, so like I've been a part of the residence for 22 years. And obviously I was not there in 1950s, but after I did all my research and went through all those things, I came out through how Bartlett was, what Bartlett was before, what Bartlett is now, why we had residentials over there, why they're converted to commercial, why there are so many strip malls there. So all these things, when I do this That's my current contractor, Ravi. Yeah, he's got more for us. So you can-
No, don't hand us anything else. Let's, when you make reference, this is like a law. This is like, you're in a court.
Okay,
Your Honor, I offer exhibit number one for the following purpose. I don't care what part it was in 1950.
okay, no, I mean, the reason is why, see, the thing is, why we want to do this rezoning, those are the reasons. And when I start my speech, when I start talking, that will give you an idea why I want to get this rezone. What is the reason behind the reason? You know what I mean?
No, when you offer your evidence on rezoning, if there's an exhibit here that relates to that, offer the exhibit at that time.
Okay, so when I say that, those are the exhibits, like slide one, like if I would have had that plugged in, I could have shown you on the computer, but since they told me to get handouts, that's why I got handouts.
So this is my point here. First, you have to tell us what you're going to talk about,
Okay,
and then you give us an exhibit that is related to what you're going to talk about. Okay, don't
Okay.
say, here's all the exhibits, and it's going to tell you what.
well, while I'm saying it, you guys can go through it, that's the only reason I gave those to you. So
You know what? Okay, fine.
it's up to you, however you want me to do it.
It's not up to me. I'm trying to make. it-
Because I prepared it that way, so I don't know how I'm gonna change everything right now. This was, so this was where I'm the exhibit now. Okay,
Offer the exhibit when you refer to the information that relates to the exhibit.
okay, okay,
So start with the information.
okay. So I'm gonna give my introduction a little bit, so everybody knows who I am. My name is Kareem Koja, and my company is KYC Construction. And we're here today to do a rezoning on the property that's on page one, that was the exhibit one, that was 30/026 Army Trail Road. So I don't know if I should have mentioned about the 1950s because, so coming to the point, let's start the actual motive of rezoning now. Going back to the page, that's why I wanted to give you the exhibits. In the 1950s, like the population of Bartlett, as we can see, was only 700. Also, property prices were really cheap at that time, if I recall, was about $175 an acre. And people bought acreages of property to build their dream homes on. And during that time, people didn't care if they were living close to the main road or the state highway because they had a lot of property. Speed limit was less, very less traffic. So it was pretty easy for people to move in and out and didn't have any problems. As time passed by and as population started growing in those areas, as if you look at the census, it raised from 700 to 40,539 in 2021. So Bartlett grew pretty good. I mean, and that increase of population increased the demands for people for new businesses. So if you look at the aerial view on the exhibit, it will show you, that's the old one, that's from the 50s, where you can see a very few, now that's the one, yeah.
That these two,
Yeah.
like this is group.
Yeah, the first one was, the bottom one was the 50s, and the other one is the recent one. So it shows,
This is group exhibit 3, and it's comprised of 2 pages, which are aerials.
so as the population grew, so did the traffic and other things. And people started getting less interested in living close to the main road, as they were afraid either their kids would be running over and it would be, harder for them to get in and out. So also as population grew, business demand grew. So as business demand grew, you can see, if you look at the aerial view currently, you will see a lot of strip malls, a lot of commercial properties. So there's like a big CVS at the corner, there's a Starbucks, there's a Beef Shack, there's another strip malls. And just for your information, those were all built on those properties which were originally zoned to R1 and had single family houses on those, which you can see it still again on the aerial view from the 1950s. And also for your information, all those strip malls have different kind of businesses and there are still stores. Those are vacant. They are not completely full. So as more and more businesses are being opened and with the increase in population, there was a need for a diverse business to serve the community. Being that there were already plenty of other types of repetitive businesses in that area, opening another similar kind of business will really not change anything. So that's why we came to. Plus, on the other hand, the original owners, when they passed away, which was about 3.5 years ago. So the kids inherited the property.
Your parcel that you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the original owners passed away and the land was inherited by the kids. And they were trying to sell that property for last 3.5 years. They marketed the property in different forms, different ways, but they couldn't get the prices. There were no people who wanted to really buy it to make a house over there. So the property value also started decreasing because nobody wanted to buy a home. So looking into that, then we decided, why not we change and let's do something new, which would serve the community and also keep the value of the property, this property, as well as the property around the property. So if you go to the next page, I have there on where it shows what Box B say, not that one, but that's the after that. Yeah, right, that one. So according to Box B's, 65% of the self-storage renters, they have a garage in their home. 47% have attics in their home, and 33% they have a basement. This suggests that Americans have more things than their homes would allow them space for. People fall in love with their things, either they have bought them or have received them as gifts or inherited from family or past generations. People will always be short of space in their homes to keep those things, and they hold dear to them. And
You're offering this as you want to take this as an exhibit?
You can, I mean, if you want a better picture of that layout,
What?
the storage one you said, like, the preliminary layout. I mean, I have another one.
The question is, are you offering this information? Exhibit?
Yes.
Okay. Exhibit 4.
So they need space to keep those things. So they want to be able to go back to look at them or even pass it over to their loved ones when the time comes. Another factor is we live in Chicago. We know the weather. It's about 3 to 5 months of cold weather over here. So people who own motorcycles, RVs, boats, some of the recreational stuff, they want to store them away for the winter times because they only use them for 2 or 3 months of the
Can I
year.
just short circuit this? Would you like us to take notice of the fact that there is a need and proper use for storage buildings in DuPage County?
Yes.
Well, we will do that. So then you can go on with why this should be resolved.
Okay. Thank you.
So I'd like to introduce this packet of documents. I have labeled each page with the prefix Z as they relate to the zoning change, the map amendment, and pages that are labeled with the prefix C are meant for conditional use.
Can you state your name, please?
Pavel Matia,
And can you spell your,
sure, PAWEL MATYJA.
I need a clean record. I can't, this makes no sense. If somebody were to look at this record, pull this file, it just doesn't make any sense. So you offer a document when you speak about the issues, and then I'll tell you whether it's relevant, and then I will mark it to C1 because it relates to zoning, and C1 because it relates to conditional use. Is not the way we do this. For a project like this, you guys should have attended the zoning hearing to see how we proceed. But we'll take it as it goes, I guess. So none of this is an exhibit. Okay. None of it is in the record until you refer to something and then offer the particular document. We already know where the property is, so I don't know why we need this. You know what the surrounding zoning is? What's Z3 supposed to be, surrounding zoning?
Correct, we put our property in context to.
Okay, we'll take the Z3 as petitioner's exhibit 5. Go ahead. There's you guys sorting this stuff.
All right, so the reason for our meeting today is to discuss the possibility of a zoning change for this parcel from its current zone of R1 residential to B1 business to allow for the property to be developed with a use that will serve the local neighborhood. We believe that the proposed zoning will help meet land use needs and is compatible with the surrounding area. The subject property is located within a couple hundred feet of the northeast intersection of Army Trail Road and Route 59 intersection. The surrounding area consists of developed and undeveloped land with uses including as farmland, residential, business, and commercial. The nearby area falls under 2 separate zoning jurisdictions, DuPage County and Village of Bartlett. The zoning classification for nearby properties within the limits of DuPage County jurisdictions are generally low-density residential R1 and R2. The zoning classification of the properties within Village of Bartlett's jurisdiction is more varied, and while residential zoning does dominate the nearby area, it tends to be located off the main thoroughfares of Route 59 and Army Trail Road. The properties along the stretches of those busy streets are zoned to permit business and commercial uses. The subject property is developed R1, consists of 2 lots, and is within the county's jurisdiction for land development regulations. Under the current zoning regulations, each of the 2 lots could be developed with a single-family home, a group home, a place of assembly with a conditional use permit, recreational use, residential care use, or schools could potentially be permitted. The minimum lot area in R1 zoning district is 100,000 square feet, which allows for limited options in the quantity and the type of development that may occur on the property. Given that the property only has access from Army Trail Road, which is an arterial road, a development of the property with 1 or 2 single-family homes is undesirable. Such location is generally unappealing to homeowners due to the vehicular noise and speed that is generated along a busy street, and a low-density development along an arterial road underutilizes the property's potential. The volume of vehicular traffic that does exist along the road is an asset to a commercial or business development. The surrounding area has undergone some changes in recent years. The most notable change relevant to our property occurred directly to the west. Within the last 5 years, the property was zoned as R1 and was under jurisdiction of the county. Since then, the property was annexed into the Village of Bartlett with a D3 zone designation. Shortly thereafter, the property was developed with a commercial building that had multiple tenants serving the nearby community. Prior to such rezoning and annexation, the property was vacant for over 10 years. Our subject property consists of 2 lots, the west vacant lot and the east lot with an existing single-family residence. The west lot appears to have been historically used as farmland and now is a vacant property with dense tree growth. The east lot was developed with a single-family home in 1954, making the house 70 years old, close to the end of its useful life. While the home still stands, the property itself has not been inhabited since the fall of 2019. The current owners have had the property on the market beginning in May of 2020, with the owners unable to complete a sale. As the community grows and develops, the need for more businesses or commercial space grows with it. The property lends itself to redevelopment rather than reuse, and the proximity to an arterial road makes it a prime location for a business or commercial type of a development, as evidenced by the adjacent development. The adjacent property that has been rezoned to a business zoning district appears to be successful and is occupied by multiple tenants. The current zoning limits the development on this site due to the limited range of uses permitted by right and extensive lot size requirements. The proximity of the property to the major arterial road and similar commercial development to the west support the potential for this site to be used for commercial purposes. The property owner has been unsuccessful in selling the property under its current zoning designation. The adjacent recently rezoned property has been vacant since 2007 and was only redeveloped after the property was rezoned to a business district. Such rezoning was beneficial to both the local government and to the community, and we believe that rezoning our property will result in similar benefits. So that's the end of my presentation for the amendment.
I see that you're reading that all of the information that you just gave us, you read. Where did the information come from?
It came from, we had the history of the MLS listing for the property. Some of the data came from historical aerial images. So
Let's talk about the listing of the property. Who listed it?
The kids, the son and daughter.
Who is the realtor?
Gina Bogus, I don't know the realty's name.
How was it offered?
It was offered as residential first. Back in.
How do you know this?
Because she gave me or showed me the listings. And when I personally talked to her, she said, oh, she's not here. So she said, we tried to list it originally as R1. And they were asking 900 plus something. They said it wouldn't sell, they had to reduce the price. After a year and a half or 2 years, they marketed as commercial, but they didn't say it was already rezoned. They said they talked to the county and the city both. And she also said that the county and the city would like to work with the new buyers and get it rezoned. That's how they marketed it. After that, I think it got sold once, but looks like either whoever came in to get it rezoned, for some reason it was refused, or I don't know what happened, because she didn't know either. She just said that buyer just walked away.
Who
And
owns the property today?
today, the kid, I don't know the exact name, that should be on there.
Steve Jerzinski. The
So,
property was part of the,
How did it agree with them?
no, sir.
no.
We're the property owners and I just want to know what's going on.
Oh, you're the property owners?
Yes, sir.
Oh, it's nice you guys are here. Yeah, because whatever I'm telling, he can tell you that everything that Gina told me. So finally, they reduced the price. And then we agreed to a price with a contingency, like, I would like to buy it, but
So you're a contract purchaser?
yes, I'm a contract purchaser, I'm the investor, and I'm a contractor too.
And are you, if this proceeds, will you operate the self-storage facility?
Yes,
You personally?
yes, me
What's your
personally.
experience operating self-storage?
I used to work in self-storages before, back in Alabama and Atlanta. They were not franchises, they were regular storage homes, I mean storage facilities. And then after reading and going through, I've been a contractor. I used to do HVAC for 22 years. After my surgery and all that, it restricted me, so I had to leave all that work and go back to something else where my health wouldn't get restrictions. So I did construction, and I happened to be coming into contact with people who own self-storage businesses. That's Kareem, why don't you do this? I said, it's a good idea. Let me go into it. I started looking for lands. I looked a lot of lands, especially in Bartlett.
Well, I don't want. Kind of stay.
Okay.
That's germane to your.
Sure. So anyway, so this facility before all these facilities were made where they had a lock and key, but as technology came in, that also I came to know from people who really own this. And they told me now they have everything electronic. They just work with an app. People rent it online. They use the app to open the gates. They use the app to open their own locks. Everything is monitored. The lights are all censored, so it doesn't bother the neighbors. And they come prefabricated, and the company, they bring the units over there, they assemble it. They are about roughly 8 to 9 feet high. And since I'm not going to be a franchise, I can use my own colors. So that's why we were thinking of going with green color so that neighbors don't look at something that's like pink or red. From
Maybe
there.
we ought to wait till your lawyer. Maybe. when
Or
your
he's here.
I don't care what color you're thinking about.
No, I'm just telling you so that the neighbors are comfortable, like they're not looking at something ugly from their houses.
I hear
That's why I brought that up.
our home backs up to the whole lot.
Okay, I'll get to public comment a little later. We got it. I mean, to rezone this property requires a lot of specific technical information, not generalities. So far I haven't heard much. We're gonna need to know the dates of the property listed, how it was listed. The MLS information that you referred to ought to be put in the record rather than population of Bartlett in 1950. I don't know if you had offers. You said, well, we listed it for residential for 900,000. You know, that sounds like anecdotal information to me. Unless you have some.
I don't have it printed, but I can go to her email.
No.
I should have.
Whose email?
The realtor. She sent me all the,
But she's not going to print it out, right?
yeah, I just didn't print it out, so I can,
I'm not gonna take information from you that you grab off your cell phone.
no, I can, she sent it to me. I asked her to send it to me and she emailed me the information, all the listings. And the owners are here. You can ask them since when they were trying to sell the
I'm
property.
not gonna ask him anything. It's your presentation. They can comment during the public comment. I've already asked them whether they are part of your petitioner's presentation and they said no.
Well, they are the sellers. What else I can say?
What else can I say? They said they're not part of your presentation.
Well, they're not a part, but they're the sellers. So they're the original sellers. I'm buying from them. So I don't know what else to say.
And set the record.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. You just make your presentation, and then we'll rely on the record that you made. Which, if it's adequate, it's adequate. If it's inadequate, then you're not gonna get.
Well, you want to go ahead?
So this was the information that we had to present for the zoning change. We also have additional information to present for the conditional use. Is this something that we
Go right ahead.
pursue? So there are several standards that the project has to meet to be considered for a conditional use. I'm going to read the 7 standards, and I will address each one with a response. Number 1, impair the adequate supply of light and air to adjacent property. So the proposed development maintains generous setbacks to adjacent properties. Both east and west boundaries provide a minimum of 20-foot setback, and the north boundary provides a 40-foot setback. No structures or parking is proposed within those areas. The rear setback will maintain its current vegetation cover, and the side setbacks will be landscaped or utilized for stormwater detention. Most building codes consider a 3-foot setback adequate to provide light and vent to a single family dwelling, and the proposed setbacks exceed this criteria. I'd like to introduce the exhibit that shows the rendering of the site. It is labeled as C from the corner.
We're not sending the site plan.
It's a zoomed in image.
Do we need to take this in addition to the site plan?
No,
If this is required, then we'll mark it the exhibit, but it seems to me that it's the same as the site.
okay, then that's not. Okay. The second condition, the second consideration for a conditional use is that the property, the proposed use will not increase the hazard from fire or other dangerous to said property. The proposed development does not increase the hazards to or from other properties. The buildings that are proposed to be constructed on the site are located at least 30 feet from the property line. At such a distance, the adopted international building code does not require any fire-rated exterior walls. As such, distance is deemed adequate to provide sufficient protection to adjacent buildings. The closest building on our property significantly exceeds this distance. While the contents stored within the units themselves will be combustible, the buildings themselves will be primarily built out of non-combustible material. Item number 3, the proposed use should not diminish the value of land and buildings in the vicinity of the proposed conditional use. The property as it currently exists is severely underutilized, resulting in less revenue generated for the community, and development of the property will be a net positive for the community. The property is accessed off a principal arterial road, which is more suitable for commercial rather than residential activities for which it is currently zoned. The self-storage facility itself will have minimal impact on the adjacent properties. To the west, the property is already developed with a commercial use retail center. To the north of our property, the residential neighborhood will be shielded from the proposed use by a buffer, a 40-foot deep setback, consisting mostly of existing dense vegetation and new fencing. And to the east, an undeveloped parcel of land currently zoned for residential exists. It is our belief that a future development of a residential project along a major street such as Army Trail Road is unlikely, and the adjacent parcel to the east also lends itself to a commercial development. The next standard is that the conditional use should not unduly increase traffic congestions in the public streets and highways. I would like to introduce the exhibit with the traffic count. It is labeled as C2 in the corner.
What's it labeled?
C2. There is a map of annual average daily traffic counts from 2020.
Okay, take that. I think we're on number 6. No, number 6.
While there will be traffic that is generated by our project, the property is located off Army Trail Road, a principal arterial 2-lane road with a dedicated left and right turn lanes at the nearest intersection. The road had an annual average daily traffic of 9,500 vehicles in 2020. The additional traffic generated is expected to be negligible to the traffic that the road currently experiences. The 2 access points provide a stacking space to vehicles that queue up at the entry gate and provide a backup turnaround space for those that may run into problems. Some traffic will be generated in morning and afternoon rush hour when customers will drop off or pick up their work vehicles from the facility. However, most traffic is expected to occur during the weekends when most users bring and remove their contents from the units or come by to pick up their parked recreational vehicles. We believe that this development will have a lesser impact on increasing traffic when compared to a dense residential development. The next standard is that the use should not increase the potential for flooding damages to adjacent properties. The development will increase the impervious surface and runoff as compared to the property as it currently exists. However, the property will be designed to meet the stormwater ordinance, and a stormwater retention facility will be provided on site, just like on the adjacent recently developed property. Item number 6, the conditional use should not incur additional public expense for fire protection, rescue, or relief. The facility is privately funded and no incentives or special taxing relief is requested. The facility will contribute financially to the community by increasing the property value and thereby increasing the tax revenue generated. Every rental agreement will outline items that are not permitted to be stored in the facility to reduce the opportunities for a fire. The last standard is that the conditional use should not otherwise impair the public health, safety, comfort, morals, or general welfare of the inhabitants of DuPage County, nor will it otherwise create a nuisance. A self-storage facility provides benefits to nearby residents by providing opportunities for storage of personal belongings inside secure units. The exterior parking spaces allow work vehicles or recreational vehicles that may be prohibited from parking on private property to be stored near the resident's home in a safe location. That's it.
You have a copy of your rental storage agreement?
We haven't had that yet. Because we were planning on that, once we get an okay, then we'll be planning to move ahead and start getting things ready as far as what we want to do, how we want to do it.
We've had a lot of requests for storage units. And in each instance, we are provided substantial details. One of those details is a copy of the agreement. So I don't know how we're gonna proceed with this. Are you done? Before you conclude, I'd like you to look through these documents and tell me whether there are any documents that you feel important to introduce as exhibits relating to a point about which you're going to testify or have testified.
If I may, I'd like to introduce the document with the letter Z2.
Z2?
And it shows the current land usage. And it highlights the concentration of commercial uses along our trail road and along our Route 59, which are the arterial roads.
Okay, take that as exhibit 7.
I would also like to introduce the page that has the letter C4 on the bottom. And then an exhibit to show the nearby public storage facilities that are available. And that we not show that in our general area, there is a void.
Yeah, okay, that's, I'm not sure that's relevant, but it's close, so I'll take it as exhibit A.
No more, we're not going to introduce any more exhibits.
Okay. Is there anything else?
That is, I have nothing else to testify to. I do have a general question.
What's your question?
Procedurally, is there an opportunity for us to continue this case? Do you have that option?
I'm not gonna deny you the opportunity to continue. But we could have said that at the beginning of the hearing. Are you gonna go over the same information that, what do you want to continue for?
I want to, I'd like to get the feedback. And if necessary, and if there are certain items that, we didn't present that should have been presented. We'd like to build that. Better.
Feedback from who?
From you guys, like,
From the staff, from the public.
Well, okay, I'll take public comment. This isn't a negotiation.
Understood.
So we're not gonna give you feedback and then allow you. You know, to continue.
well, like you asked us to get the rental agreement, which we had no knowledge that we wanted to. That would be asked over here to get a rental agreement, because we are still in the procedure where we don't even know where we are standing right now.
You're a contract
So-
buyer and you want to build a spec building. And at some point you have some unidentified contact with, I think, an Alabama storage company. That ain't gonna,
Oh, no, I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that, I totally understand, but if we had this. Just like he asked for continuation, because we had no knowledge or information as to. What things would be required, like we never thought we would require a rental agreement before we could even build something. So we had no knowledge about that. So when you asked us for a rental agreement, I was kind of. Shocked too, like why am I bringing a rental agreement, so,
generally speaking. And I'm not gonna hold you to the number, but this is like $1 million project.
right,
And you come in here with a kind of a wish list and read me the zoning standards. Never having been to a zoning hearing without a zoning lawyer. And you think we're just gonna rezone this and grant you an unlimited conditional use and you can work things out later?
no, we're not saying that, we're not saying that. I mean, we're ready to work, we're ready to do what is required, we're not saying we don't want to do it.
Okay, well, I'll take, let's go to public comment. Who in the audience would like to make a statement about this case? Everybody that wants to speak, please raise your hand because I have to have you sworn in. Just two, I don't see that gentleman in the back.
No, just two.
Just two people? Okay, would you stand for a second to be sworn in and then I'll recognize you?
You do solemnly swear and affirm the testimony about to give at this class, now hearing to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. I do.
Whoever wants to be first is fine with me, but start with, tell us your name, spell your name for the court reporter. Give us your address and tell us where your property is in relation to this property. If it's 5 miles away or, you know, the next property, we need to understand that. Then tell us whether you support or oppose, if you have a fixed opinion, and then you can explain what your position is. Okay, so who'd like to go first? And I'll go over that again. You want to go first? Okay, name and address.
My name is Jill, Jill, last name Vick, Vik. I live at 1617 Far Hills Drive in Bartlett. My property runs along the whole back of where the storage facility was. Our subdivision is Far Hills. It's a very nice, prestigious subdivision in Bartlett, one of the nicer ones. And we bought this was our dream home. We bought 14 years ago. We bought it because it had wooded area. And I am concerned with this project, as I just heard in this presentation, that there's going to be people storing their work vehicles and coming in the morning to pick up their work vehicles coming and going. I am concerned about crime. I'm concerned about the noise, the lights. I understand things have to change and evolve with time. I'm also concerned about the drainage, the water, because our backyard does have some awkward drainage flows and little rivers to kind of pull the water away from the house. I don't know the right word to use. I've never been to one of these meetings. I don't completely oppose this project, but I'm very concerned.
Well, you don't have to, it's not required that you say I support or oppose. You can express your concerns as you have, and then we'll take that into consideration.
The hours of this facility, like if there was a rental agreement, maybe you could see the hours that they would be open. When would people get access? Again, I'm concerned about crime because we do have another commercial property that backs up to our subdivision. And there were a couple of incidences when people would pull into the commercial parking lots, climb over the fence, and they broke into a couple of our houses in our subdivision, climbed up into the second floor. Now, my property is about, I am guessing, I didn't measure before I came, I did pay time off of work to be here. Our property is about 15 feet off the property line. Our house is a walk-up. It's a ranch, but it's kind of like a walk-up ranch. It's about 3,000 feet. And when you look out your kitchen window, our kitchen window looks over that property. Another concern is it's a very beautiful area. There's a lot of wildlife there. You know, I'm just concerned. I'm not here to totally oppose, and I understand we bought our house where we did, but I feel like our home values too might be affected. If you go through the subdivision, you know, you might get a better feel. She's from Bartlett. She might be able to fill you in a little bit better.
Okay.
It could be worse. It could be worse than the storage facility, but it could be better than the storage facility. And when I heard about people parking their cars, when I heard about people parking their work cars and coming in the morning to get their work cars and dropping them.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right, thank you very much. We'll take
Thank
that
you.
into consideration. And would you like to go next?
Yes, my name is Christy Stone, KRISTYSTONE. I live at, can I use my work address? Because I'm representing the village of Bartlett.
Oh, you represent the village of
Yes.
Bartlett? Well, sure, you can use your
Yes.
work address.
So 228 South Main Street in Bartlett, Illinois, 60103. I am the Planning and Development Services Director for the village. I've lived there for 21 years. I'm very familiar with this area. Based on the county's zoning ordinance, self-storage is a permitted use in your industrial district. It's a conditional use in your business district. By asking for the rezoning and a conditional use, they're in effect getting pseudo industrial zoning for this property, which is on conflict with both the village's comprehensive plan and the county's comprehensive plan. The village is looking at commercial to the west, and our future plan calls for residential to the east. To put something we consider an industrial use in between the two is not a logical transition, and is not compatible with both the existing land uses and the proposed land uses of the future land use plans. We have concerns with the site plan. There's not been a landscape plan. There hasn't been a full engineering study done with storm drainage. There's not enough evidence here to meet the findings of fact standards that are required in your ordinance. I also am concerned because if this was in either your office research or your industrial zoning districts, they would be required to submit a certificate from a scientific research laboratory certifying compliance with the performance standards. But because this would be in your B1 district, they would not have to submit that certification. That's a concern that we have. I'm concerned that they said that there's going to be combustibles within the storage units. I don't know what type of water, what type of fire service they would have access to, if they would have, the buildings would be sprinkled, how close the nearest hydrants would be. I think that's a big concern. We had a fire in a storage facility within Brewster Creek, which was much larger, but we're aware of the impacts. Our fire district is very concerned with that as well, but I am not speaking on their behalf. So we do have concerns with that. The fact that there would be work vehicles stored outside, which would be closer to the residents than the storage buildings. That's something they'd be able to see through the trees. It is something that we would be concerned with hearing the engines revving up in the morning, diesel trucks parked in there for while the engine's warm. And I just don't think, based on the evidence presented here, that they met the standards for the conditional use or for the rezoning of the property.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, I went to the public comment before I went to members of the board for questions, because frankly, I don't think it's prudent to make the petitioner's case for them by asking a lot of detailed questions, but I will offer the opportunity to members of the board if you have questions. Anybody have questions?
Based on the federal court ruling, we're not supposed to guide people, so I have none.
I have no question.
Okay, no questions from the board. Do you have any? I'm not going to give you a continuance because I think it's a little insulting to bring us here as a test balloon to see how you make your case and then ask for a continuance. So I'm not going to grant you a continuance. I will tell you procedurally that after we make our ruling on this case, which won't be this evening, you might withdraw and refile. You can ask for reconsideration and referral back to us. So there are a lot of ways that we can resurrect this, but again, it's a bit technical, so I don't think that denying your continuance will prejudice you. Do you have any concluding remarks?
We heard the concerns from the public. We believe that's, in my opinion, that some of them are I don't believe that some of them are as bad as it seems. Any storage space, I mean, every self-storage facility has combustible products. The fact that there will be combustible products inside there, I don't think that's very relevant. But, I'll finish on that.
Okay. Thank you very much. We will conclude this evening and close the record in this case. Set the matter for our monthly recommendation meeting on July. What's the date in July?
July 13th.
July 13th.
We usually skip the first July. I didn't know if you wanted to.
I heard 15, or maybe I heard wrong.
What did you say?
13th,
Okay, 13.
What day of the week is that?
that's a Thursday.
196.
Well, what's
That's
Bastille Day? 14th. I thought that was a Saturday. Maybe not. Okay, July
Get
13th,
her calendar right out.
5:30.
Don't we meet in the park?
Well, she wants to avoid the holiday weekend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Well, you're right, we ordinarily do, but what Jessica said was that we'll avoid
Got it.
Independence Day. All right, so July 13th, the meeting occurs in this room at 5:30. We'll consider your case, all the other cases. No testimony is presented at that time because the record is closed on the case. And that's it. Thank you very much. Thanks to members of the audience, and we're concluded for the evening.